do with the budget, and I am absolutely stunned that you're trying to get $2 billion out of state employees. Math guy, I ran the numbers immediately using the 50,000 approximate state employees, working it out to $20,000 per state employee per year over the next 2 years is what you're asking from us.
So I'm going to stop you right there, because people keep repeating this.
I know.
I have to fund $877 million this year in pension obligations for the 5th worst funded pension system in the country. In the past, people who represented the employees of the state have quote-unquote entered into concessions. You know and I know that over $300 million of that last concession package was not changing anything. It was an agreement not to fund something. The obligation grew. The dollars grew. The pull down on the pension plan, the future expenses actually grew substantially faster because of the early retirement benefit that was given. So when you talk about how much it would be based on salary, let's talk about benefits. Let's talk about the cost of those benefits. You know and I know that to insure a family of a state employee costs a lot of money. Or to fund the pension costs a lot of money. So I don't mind you doing your math the way you want to do it, but we got to have a real honest discussion if we're going to make progress. Because let me tell you this, if the other guy had gotten elected, and most of the people here are going to yell at me about taxes, you think he'd have the tax package I have? You think he'd stand in front of this audience and 16 other audiences and every other business group in the state and talk about the need to have a balanced approach? Do you really think you would have gotten that?
$2 billion in concessions from state employees. You call them concessions, I call it a special tax on state employees.
Okay.
People come up? Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Beryl Fishbone, and I'm from Norwich. I'm also unemployed. I could use a job in case anybody knows of one. You're talking tonight a great deal about taxes. You're talking about fees, charges, all kinds of things. But I'd like to know what word or phrases will your office be using to entice businesses and industries to come to Connecticut? What will be your sales pitch when you're going to Washington or you're talking to other governors or other business leaders? What will be your sales pitch to increase business and come to Connecticut?
You're trying to ask the question. So what I'm going to start with is that we are now compliant with GAAP, Generally Accepted Accounting Principles. This leadership team over here has to close their books according to Generally Accepted Accounting Principles every year. And yet our state has budgeted and reported its results in non-compliance with Generally Accepted Accounting Principles, even though it requires every municipality to do the same. You know why? Because without GAAP, it was easy to do some of the things that got done that dug the hole that we're in right now. So I would start with, we're going to be transparent and honest in our budgeting. We're going to be fully compliant with Generally Accepted Accounting Principles. We're going to fully fund our obligations and not delay them. We're not going to pay people to stay home from work. You're going to get an honest day's pay for an honest day work, and you're going to know that your pension is going to be protected in the future. I'm going to start by saying that we've gone from $1 budget for tourism and culture in the state to $15 million. We are going to promote this state, and we're going to talk about all of the strengths that we have within this state. That's what we're going to say, because we have some of the most efficient, hardest working people in the nation. And you know, some people will point out, well, you have high energy costs. Yeah, but we're more efficient in using energy than just about any other state. I think we're ranked 3rd. We have found ways to be productive. We build the best submarines, the best jet engines, the best high precision tools. We're still one of the insurance capitals of the world. We're leading the country. We're leading the world in the development of new medical financial products. We are going to tackle our problems. That's the message that I have.
I'm Marion. I'm a CPA from Norwich, Connecticut, and I would like to speak from my position as the president of the Connecticut Society of CPAs. CPAs. We're 6,000 CPAs in the state. We have all different ideas on budget cuts and additional taxes, and I won't speak to that, but we would like to thank you for what we believe are giant steps forward for the better financial condition of the state of Connecticut that you've taken in this budget. That generally accepted accounting principles, not using debt to cover operating expenses, committing to fully fund for pensions, not shifting the burden to cities and towns, and there are a lot of more steps that are needed. And for everybody here, nobody wants to pay more in taxes, and nobody wants to have their services cut. But right now, what we've done is we've mortgaged our children and our grandchildren's future over the past decades. And if you look at our financial condition, we are about the worst in the country. That it's not going to get better when the economy gets better. There's no way that the state can sustain this. So thank you for making the tough decisions.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Hello.
Governor Malloy, thank you for being here. My name is Hal Gillis from the town of Bristol. My question to you is, with the major tax loopholes in the state, the rich, the top 1% in the state are paying a much lower tax rate than I am. Large corporations like Bank of America, who, by the way, have 500 employees who are on the Husky program, and everyone in this room is subsidizing, but pay no state taxes. I would like to know if you're going to close those loopholes.
You know, we are closing a number of loopholes. And we're also benchmarking against what other states do. For instance, you said they pay a much higher percentage. If you're talking about a rate, I mean a much lower percentage. If you're talking about a rate, they pay a much higher rate. They actually pay a lower percentage of their total wealth. That's true. And not something that I'm, particularly happy about, but that's the tax structure of the United States. All 50 states, that plays itself out. But if you're talking about highest earners in the state, between what we're doing in this rate increase and what was done 19 months ago, they're actually seeing the largest percentage increase at 36%. So, and by the way, in going from 3 brackets to 8 brackets, we're actually taxing at a higher rate lower income. So where they used to only start to pay a higher rate at $1 million, they'll actually start to pay a higher rate in each one of the brackets. But what I also have said, and I said this during the campaign, for Connecticut to succeed, we have to maintain a substantial tax advantage over New York, New Jersey, Massachusetts, and Rhode Island. Now, you may disagree with me about that, and I understand that. But I know that we're a high-priced destination. We have the highest energy costs in the United States. We've lost jobs for 22 years. I am calculating that if we even matched overall the same tax structure as the 4 states that we compete most directly with, we will be the loser. It is a balancing act. And I may not have the right balance, and that's why we have a legislative process. And I understand exactly what you're saying, but you should understand what my thought process is. And you don't have to agree with me. I understand it. But I have said from day one and throughout the election that we had to maintain a tax advantage. And by the way, in my part of the state, I see that. We used to attract a lot of jobs out of New York, and it's dried up. Now, maybe the spigot comes back on as the economy turns around. But if we don't get those replacement jobs in Fairfield County, a county that pays disproportionately the income tax, if they don't continue the process of moving in as others move out, we're in big trouble. So I want a competitive advantage to build our economy, to have those kind of high-wage earners paying a lot of money, albeit a smaller percentage. Thank you.
The next speaker, please come up.
And I do need
Good evening, Joanne Philbrick, Norwich, Connecticut. I
Hello.
recently moved back to Connecticut after living in Massachusetts, also known as Taxachusetts, for 30 years. I need to speak to you about what I call the silent majority, which are the senior citizens of the state of Connecticut. I cannot share my sacrifices anymore. I live on a fixed income. Every time I turn around, somebody wants another piece of my Social Security check. I worked all my life. I put my money in savings and 401ks and retirement, and the greed and corruption of Wall Street and the United States government robbed me. I cannot afford another tax.
Okay.
I will not go to the car wash. I will not take my dog to the groomer. I will not buy a car. And when everybody else says, I'm not going to do that either, we are going to be in a bigger pile of crap than we are now. Everyone in this room has to live within their means. You, the state of Connecticut, the federal government, for years have robbed the American people. You have spent money that you do not have. You think that when you need
There's
money...
a question here somewhere, right?
My question is,
Okay.
how is it going to be any different this time?
Sure. And I think that's a fair question. Generally accepted accounting principles being applied for the first time in the history of our state. Establishing our means, by the way, I just got elected. I don't know whether you were here during the elections. I didn't create this problem. I was hired to straighten it out. And you may not agree with the methods that I'm going to use, but don't blame me for what happened in state government, because I wasn't part of it. I didn't serve in the legislature. I didn't serve in the executive branch. I wasn't governor. Don't, you can shake your head, but reality is reality. I did not create this mess. In fact, I was mayor of a city for 14 years. And over the 14 years that I was mayor of that city, its population went up by 10%. And its workforce went down by 8.4%. And we made it one of the 10 safest cities in America. And we created jobs, and we improved education. So I actually do know how to run something, and run something well. What I've been hired to do is to find the right balance. Now, I said very clearly, for everyone to hear, that I did not believe that we could tax our way out of this problem, nor did I believe we could cut our way out of this problem. That it was going to have to be a combination of the both. To take another $1.5 billion out of this budget, or $2.5 billion out of this budget, if we don't get the kinds of agreements that we need, will mean that thousands and thousands and thousands of additional state employees will be unemployed, not paying taxes. But by the way, under our system, continuing to receive some benefits. We'll have to gut the safety net. Now, I know you're a senior citizen and you made your investments, but we have a lot of senior citizens in this state who rely on Medicaid for their care. Should I take it away? Should I close the nursing homes? Should we see 3 or 4 hospitals close in the next 2 years? I mean, those are real choices that this budget document represents. And I know it's hard. And I will do everything in my power to see this state establish what its means are and live within them. I am not spending any more taxpayer dollars next year than what was included in the budget adopted by a Republican governor and a Democratic legislature in the past. This is a break with the past. It is a break. Thank you.
I want to announce that, and we apologize to the people outside, but it seems that the second room that we had the overflow, the communications has kind of died out, so it has failed, so that's the reason you're hearing from the past.
Okay, sorry. I didn't do it. No, I get blamed for a lot of things. I didn't do it.
Hi, Andy Deptford, Ferguson Avenue, Norwich. First thing I want to do is thank you very much for coming to Norwich, to allow us to address you and for you to stand up there and take whatever we dish out. You have said you can't tax your way out of recession, but it appears that we're going to try.
Well, let me stop. No, I know, but wait. What I'm doing, and all I ask is that you acknowledge what I'm doing. There's a $3.3 billion deficit that I didn't create. And you're right, I'm asking for additional revenue to cover part of it. But I'm also doing things that no other governor has done in the last 20 years. And that is to take on state spending in a very big way. And to take on entitlements in a very big way. We can debate the issues, but but I don't want to stand here and have people who are listening or watching on TV think that I haven't gone, maybe I haven't gone as far as you want me to go. But I'm doing some things in this budget that haven't been done.